Well, I'm Storm Track 12 meteorologist Les Still here with your Thursday evening forecast. We're going to talk a little bit about the tropics, talk about some tropical input that potentially could have an influence on our weather, and also talk about the potential for the rainfall that is going to be coming our way. Let's get you started with a review of how much rainfall we've had across eastern Carolina this month alone. And it has really been a situation of cities that have a lot and cities that haven't had a whole lot here. Now, let's compare this to normal. All right, Greenville. Well, we're actually running a little bit of a rainfall deficit. We should be normally up at around almost 2 3/4 inches. We only got 0.66 in the rain bucket for this month. Meanwhile, compare that to New Bern, which is almost 3 1/3 inches above normal for this time of year as far as this month is concerned. And Beaufort, we picked up a little bit today, still running a little bit of a deficit in here by about 1.5 inches for the month. Again, though, New Bern, that has definitely been the big winner with those heavy rainfalls that we saw coming through in the early morning hours here for Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. And those look like some more soaking rain will be headed to New Bern as we go on through this weekend. Clouds do come back in as we head through the evening and overnight hours here with some light rain around from time to time, more scattered showers. Temperatures into the mid-60s, near 70 degrees for inland spots. Then through the day tomorrow, I think we're going to have a chance for some scattered showers. Maybe a rumble of thunder, not completely out of the question along the coastline, at least up until mid-afternoon, or let's say early afternoon. Then after that, we should taper things off. May see a peak or two of sunshine as we head on through the afternoon hours tomorrow, but don't bet on seeing a whole lot of it. And temperatures are going to be on the chilly side, mid to upper 70s. I think that's going to do it for top temperatures tomorrow. In fact, take a look at highs today. All of us staying in the 70s. Got to go all the way back to May, since the last time, early May at that we had temps that were in the 70s for the entire day. Look at the 75 in New Bern. That actually ties a record low high temperature for New Bern set back in 2004. So it was definitely on the chilly side here with the cloud cover and the rain as you went through the day today. And you can definitely tell further inland like Kinston, Greenville, Ahoskie, Washington. We had a little bit more peaks of sunshine to get us up closer to that 80-degree mark, and probably temperatures will fall the same as we head on in through the day tomorrow. Here's the setup that we have, a stalled front with a couple waves of low pressure riding along it. Now notice the high sitting to the north. That is funneling dry, cool Canadian air our way, and as a result of that, you can kind of see what we call an overrunning situation where you've got this cool air wedged in on the east side of the mountains, typical as to what we would normally see during winter time. But that's the setup we've got now, that northeasterly wind piling that cool, dry air up on the east side of the mountains, and then you take this warm tropical air mass and overrun it. That's part of the reason why we had the steady rainfall, especially east of Highway 17 as we went through the day today. And we do have that moisture coming out of the Gulf that's going to be headed our way as we head on through the day tomorrow. Now, let's talk about the jet stream, because that's a big factor in our forecast here, that we are going to be looking at a corridor setting itself up as we progress through this weekend. The problem is we've got an upper-level trough that has dug itself out, but it's going to be eventually cutting off over the lower and mid-Mississippi Valley. Meanwhile, the Bermuda High sitting out here, that actually starts to move westbound. So as a result, that's retrograding that we call it, you'll see this corridor start to be set up here. Notice by Friday, all the lines for us here in eastern Carolina starting to come out of the Gulf of Mexico. So we start funneling this moisture up into the area here, and as a result, that's going to allow us to overrun that front. You can see what I was talking about here, how that Bermuda High really starts to retrograde westbound here as the upper level low cuts itself off out here in the mid-Mississippi Valley, and as a result, we've got this corridor set up of heavy rain potentially in here on Saturday, but then eventually with this high retrograding westbound, we'll start to cut that rain off and shove it further back out to the west across the Appalachians. A similar setup that we saw back, I think it was June or early July, where we actually had our nice weather coming in from the east. That's exactly what we're going to see as we go into the early part of next week. Notice the upper level trough kind of starts to lift out by the time we hit early next week, but we're still leaving something hanging back here across the Gulf Coast with that old front still kind of stalled out. By then it'll probably be shoved back into here. But again, that corridor is still there for some rain. So as a result of that, we kind of leave the moisture in the atmosphere there, and the potential is going to be there for diurnal or afternoon showers and thunderstorms. So here's how Future Track plays it out. I'm not exactly happy with what it's showing as we go through the evening hours here, but I think you'll see the trend. The clouds come back in, some showers in here by early tomorrow morning, and then we do look for that action at least until 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon before it kind of moves on away. But remember, we've got that conveyor of moisture coming out of the Gulf, and that's why I'm saying I think on Saturday in here we are going to see some pretty good soaking rains, especially along and east of Highway 17, before we finally get that upper level low to, or upper level high to retrograde back westbound and break this pattern up for us early next week. All right, let's talk about the tropics here. Erin was upgraded as of this morning to a tropical storm. I mean, it's going to intensify a little bit, but not really anticipating to have much of an impact in the grand scheme of things. Again, they're moving fairly quickly off to the west-northwest. Now, what I want to point out here is a little bit of divergence as far as the official Hurricane Center forecast. That's where you see the lower portion of your screen there with the tropical storm symbol. And look where most of the forecast models go. They are north of that, taking it out into the central Atlantic. Well, the problem with the central Atlantic is that there is an awful lot of dry air sitting out there, and as a result, that is going to be creating a problem as we go on through time, and that is something that we're going to have to continue to keep an eye on here with that dry air to see how it will impact our situation here. Now, take a look at this. This is what we call the Saharan dust product here, where you see orange and yellow, that's the dry Saharan dust, and as a result, you can see the area where Erin is supposed to be headed to. That is going to allow us to see it ingesting that dry Saharan air, and as a result, that's why we're not anticipating rapid intensification with this, and we may see something like we saw with Dorian, where talk to me early next week to see what's left of this system as it's got to be working through the dry air and the shear that's going to encounter in the central Atlantic. So it's something we're going to track and keep an eye on here. But here's the official forecast from the Hurricane Center. Again, it does ramp it up to about a 45, 50 mile an hour tropical storm as we go through Saturday. Again, as you saw there, though, it is further south than the models are showing. And then once we get in through Monday and Tuesday, you'll notice kind of downgrading to about a 35 mile an hour tropical storm. It's because it's going to be negotiating that dry air. As far as the infrared satellite imagery is concerned with this thing through the afternoon hours here, it has been ingesting that drier air, kind of pulsing down a little bit. Now, this is the other area that we are watching. It's kind of a broad area of low pressure along the Yucatan Peninsula. Not the greatest afternoon and evening along Cancun and Cozumel. But the low-level center with this is probably going to make its way across the Yucatan. But look how the thunderstorm action is getting pulled out of that center there. So I think it's missed its chance to really develop, but it is something we're going to keep our eye on because that moisture, that thunderstorm action can get pulled out of it and up along the front as we go on through this weekend, and that will be our source Saturday going into Sunday of the potential for some of the heavier rainfall coming our way. It does look like Saturday is going to be the rainiest day of the weekend, and then we start to get that retrograding with that upper level ridge, that Bermuda high coming in from the east, eventually bringing some warmer air and drying us out a little bit with some sunshine in here for the first part of next week. But again, remember the tropical air mass is going to be in place, so the potential is there for scattered showers and thunderstorms by the afternoon hours. I'm going to be in for Skip again tomorrow night. Ellen Baca is going to be continuing to track the action with Erin and everything else as we go on through the weekend here. Have yourself a good Thursday night or Friday morning. I'll talk to you on Friday. I'm Storm Track 12 meteorologist Les Still.